Hey Capricorn, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. I'm going to pull an overall card for this reading, although it will be an I-ching reading, but we are going to get a general direction. Three of Wands. This talks about future. This talks about faith and inspiration for the future. Having faith, really trusting the universe on something. Could be Wands often talk about creativity, spirituality. There's a vision for the future, and it's talking about your faith in that future, your faith in that vision for the future. So the topic could be Wands are talking about like spirituality, creativity, intuition, that kind of thing. Very, very ethereal matters of the psyche. All kind of sit together there. All right. Yeah, we see a crystal ball standing on the crystal ball very constantly. So it's very confidently. So standing there in your faith. All right. So now we're going to do an I-ching reading, and I'm jiggling these coins here. I'm probably jiggling too as I jiggle the coins. And we're going to throw them 6 times, 3 coins 6 times. That creates our hexagram for the I-ching. 2 tails. So we have yin energy, receptive and opening. 2 tails, more yin energy. 3 heads. So that is yin energy, but it's going to change to yang. I love, like, the coins feel a little sticky in my hand today, and it's creating a little bit of well, that one wasn't sticky at all. So 2 heads, yang energy, unchanging. So it's creating a little bit of, I don't know, some suspense, I guess. Which I guess we could talk about the 3 of Wands as being in suspense. You know something's going to happen. 3 heads, so yin energy that will change to yang. Funny how easily we can talk about these binary coins. Their nature is to change, or that's the whole name of this game. So 2 heads, so yang energy. So I'm going to go do my calculations, and then I'll be right back. All right, Capricorn, I have consulted the I-ching here. So we ended up with 2 changing trigrams stacked on top of each other. So we had fire over earth. And as we built as I was throwing the coins, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have an upper trigram and a lower trigram. So we had fire over earth, talking about passion, some sort of general earth, like a big goal. I find it interesting because you are an earth sign. So like a big generality. So a passion about a generality. And then we switched with our changing lines. Both of the trigrams changed. And so the whole hexagram changed. But fire changed to heaven and earth changed to mountain. So the fire seemed to me like a passion, but going into like an overall vision, an overall idea. And then the earth also very general, but getting more specific. We have a mountain, which is a piece of earth that's compacted, defined, and very clear. So we have like an overall goal or an overall idea here, and then we have the compacted version of what's realistically possible. So, so general, all the possibilities, and then going down into like a little point, a little arrow. I almost want to say like a little point on a map. Right. So, so we had like passion with like a pretty good, strong foundation going into like a general, like a vision. And so this talks a lot about the passion and the vision here, the Wands, 3 of Wands, passion and vision. But then underlying, we had like sort of a lot going on, and then, okay, we can do this one thing. So, the general idea solidifying into something identifiable and definable. So sort of the earth aspect of it, kind of, there was the details, and some of the details and stuff remained unchanged. The human, we're becoming more initiative. which is easier to do when you have more defined goals. It's not just something you're passionate about, it's also something that now you can do something towards. And then the overall plan, or the ethereal realm, or the spiritual realm, we have a lot of movement going on there as well. So so changing from like a static state into the vision itself has been like maybe static or well balanced, but it's now coming into like, okay, movement on this. And the person, you, is becoming more movement oriented and moving forward on something. So it's like, I have this general idea and this big thing that I want to do. I'm very passionate about it. I have a lot of the tools. And then now you're starting to formulate more of a vision and being able to use one specific tool. So that's basically a little bit of where we go. But we're talking about, we start with 7/2, fire over earth. That's number 35, advance. And this really talks about like a Pyrrhic victory, a victory and a showy victory. But did you really win anything? Did you really get anywhere with this? Is this really what you wanted? So literally translated, what we do is we literally translate the two dynamic lines, which was 3 and 6. So line number 3, literally translated, is the people approve, regret, disappear. So this is like, maybe you weren't quite sure what you were doing, but everybody seemed to like it. So maybe it was a good idea after all. Like you weren't quite certain that that's what you wanted. But once you got the feedback and people were like, yeah, that's the goal. That's what we want. Like, you're like, okay, good. I guess I won. You weren't quite sure you wanted to win or even wanted to be in the race. But everybody approves of it. So you got approval. I'm not sure you were really like super into this thing yourself, but society seemed to approve, your parents approved, the people you cared about were like, yeah, that's cool. And you were like, okay, that's cool. Like I keep thinking of like maybe clothes as a metaphor, right? Like you put something on, you dressed up, you weren't quite into it. You were like, I don't know, do I really want to wear this today? And then like you got so many compliments that it was like, okay, I guess I do want to wear this. This is awesome. I like getting compliments. You weren't quite sure of it. So maybe it was something that you didn't quite resonate with you, or like you can see an aspect of it that doesn't show up to other people, and they're like, yay, good job. And you're like, thank you. This actually really sucked. I never want to do this again. Maybe I made the wrong choice. But with the approval of others, it's hard to go back and be like, I would have done something different, right? Since you got maybe an award or people really liked it. Maybe it wasn't your jam, but now you're getting so much positive feedback. This feels like it's in the past. You got so much positive feedback for something that you did that it kind of changed like how you felt about it, because you weren't really sure at the beginning. So, and then we move into line number 6, the spearhead advances to take a city, perilous but safe, blameless but pointless. So again, a victory, it's fine, you won. There's just something sort of a letdown about winning here. I don't think you really wanted to win. I think you were maybe in a race, maybe you're feeling competitive. There's just like blameless but pointless. Like you won the city. It was a feat of daring do. But did you even want to? It'd be like going off the high dive, but you didn't actually even want to go swimming. And everyone was like, oh, good dive, yay. And you were like, oh, I don't actually feel like swimming today. I just really didn't want to get wet, But there's so much approval. I mean, it's not like a big problem. It's just like not what you wanted. A show of strength involves calculated risks. So maybe everyone thinks that you're strong now and you're amazing and you did something really cool. And it was risky. You did take some risks. There's a lot of like show though here. Like it's for other people. It's for their approval, or maybe it wasn't even originally for their approval, but now that you've got it, you want it and you don't want to lose it. Distinguish form from substance with opposition. What's a threat and what's a promise? Like, what has substance behind it and what's just for show? And needing to like see that in other people. Like, is someone just showing off, or do they have like the goods to really back that up? Or is someone just like threatening you, or do they really have what it takes to follow through on that? There's like just kind of a letdown here. Like, you won, but it's not a big deal, and you're not even sure you wanted to win, and you're not sure that this was even, it just doesn't seem very important to you, or like what you really want. You're like passionate about something, but I think where you got and what happened isn't like, like when you get divorced or something, it's like, well, you didn't really want to get divorced. Like, it would have been better if it had like worked out. But now that you are, everyone's like, oh, good, you know, that was clearly, we could see, you know, that they were a jerk, and this wasn't working out. And so they approve of the divorce, but that's not really like what you wanted. You wanted to be married and be in love and have this beautiful situation go on forever. That's not really what you wanted. But at some point it was like, well, I guess that's what I want now. So that's what it feels like the intention, it just didn't, just what you got what you wanted, but it wasn't what you really wanted. So, and then there's like doubting, but you're committed anyway, like an internal uncertainty. There's an internal uncertainty. Yeah, you're doubting something, but you committed to it anyway, and you're sticking with it. There's like a sense of picking battles, but then you're like, was this the hill I actually want to die on? Do I actually want to be known for this? Is this who I actually am? Is this what I actually want? Is this the life I actually want to be living? I'm very committed to it, but I'm not even sure anymore. Like, did I change, or was I never even, that's just what I'm getting from this like advance. Like, you're moving forward, but you're not like super excited about something you've committed to. And there's like a sense of like, okay, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. Is this even what I want? Like, I don't even know anymore, but you're committed. And other people approve. So everybody else thinks that this is what you want, and this is a valuable goal, and this is a valuable thing. Everybody else thinks that you should be doing this. They think you're really good at this. It's a good match. You know, everyone else thinks that what you're doing is great, and you're just like, oh, okay, I got this. I'm not sure. You're committed to something, and there's just a lot of doubt underneath it. You're passionate about something, but the earth, the way it's coming, the way it's grounding down into reality, or the way your passion and your commitment is coming out in reality has you really doubting it. And it looks really good to other people, but you're not sure that this matches really what your vision was, what you were passionate about. Like, you know, you were passionate about like falling in love and having a long lasting relationship. And what's actually grounding down that everyone's like, yay, good, you know, congrats on your marriage. And you're like, I don't even know if I want to be married anymore. I don't know. But everyone else is approving. So that in a way is like creating doubt, I think, within yourself. And the way the way a passion has appeared in reality, it's not quite what you wanted. And there are a lot of questions about if this is the hill you really want to die on. You're putting a lot of work into it. You're putting a lot of effort into something. But is this really what you want? It's part of what you want. But there's a disconnect between what you want, what you're passionate about, and how it's actually showing up in reality. And there's just like a lot of self-doubt about something you're committed to. And then where we're going here is the little pig. Sign of sacrifice, auspicious for small things. So realistic goals, right? Earth to mountain is how the hexagram changed. So earth to mountain. So something kind of vague, and so there's something that you can accomplish here, that you do want to accomplish. There is something here. Maybe the whole thing isn't what you wanted, but there's something you can accomplish. It's small. But there's something you can do. So if you're like stuck in a situation, you got yourself into this situation, you don't know how to get out of it, there is something you can do. Maybe it's a small thing, but it's at least something in the direction that you want to go in, right? We have this like overall vision, idea, faith in the future, and there's a small steps. So realistic goals, small steps. You can celebrate the small steps, celebrate the baby steps. Maybe the whole thing isn't here. Maybe you even actually have doubts about like the whole idea, but you know, like you're not sure really college was for you, but celebrate getting in, because we're going somewhere, and you're just not having a lot of faith here, or not the bigger picture. Something about the bigger picture and the way it's actually showing up in reality is just like kind of a disconnect. But you are supposed to like celebrate something. You are having victories. You're just not sure you want any of them. So there are victories here. There are victories, and celebrate the victories, and you can make progress towards your goal, right? We have this big earth, how you want your reality to look, and then we've got a little mountain. So we can climb the mountain, we can summit this mountain. Maybe we can't like define and organize the whole earth, but do what you can and celebrate each little thing that you can do. So let's pull some cards here and see if we... Right, the known identity is what's interesting here. Is like, because you're not even sure that the known, you're supposed to be celebrating the known identity, or the known thing, the thing that can be accomplished, the thing that can be done. But there's just so much doubt over whether this is even the right direction, or even if you want this. But saying celebrate what you can do. Oh, okay. Balance spirituality and practicality. The dream and the reality need a little bit of, what do you call that? When you balance your tires, I guess balancing. It needs some calibration here. Your vision and your reality need to be a little bit recalibrated. You do have responsibilities. You also have this overall dream, and there's a sense where these things can come into better alignment with each other. So the heart and the head, trying to like balance those out. Your heart may want something, but your head may be saying no, or maybe your head is like, yeah, everybody approves. Everybody approves. Everybody likes it. Everybody says I need to want this, and this is what I'm supposed to get out of life, and what I'm supposed to want out of life. And your heart's a little bit like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I got this job and I just don't feel it. Like there's some sort of disconnect here. Meditation or something needs to come in here with balancing out the reality and the spiritual vision, because those seem kind of out of sync. The reality looks the way it's supposed to, the way society approves of, but it doesn't feel right to you. And you can take positive movements in the direction that does feel right to you. There's small movements at this point, but you can more align yourself with who you really are. So we're balancing that. Yeah, because there's a lot of forceful energy here. Things were balanced, and now they're becoming a lot more, some feeling is much stronger now than it has been before. So, Age of Light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. You are very well aware of what you want. You maybe have rehearsed conversations over and over again. Your overall vision, you're very familiar with it, with what you wanted. Maybe not what you got, but what you wanted. You're very familiar with this. You're very prepared for something. The calculated risks. You may have made several attempts at this, and now you understand something. If you're being faced with opposition, you need to understand that some of it may be like hollow. Like it's actually pretty easy to take this city. Yeah, the strategic victory. Like where we can make the most headway is with strategic victories and also doable victories. And this is like saying to focus on the doable. So, like something's very doable. It's super easy. This thing might actually be super easy for you to do and everybody likes it when you do this. So it's super easy for you to do. Because it's very much in your wheelhouse. So it's very simple, but should you do it? Just because you know you can and it's super easy, like, yeah, you have a lot of confidence in your ability to accomplish something. I just think there's like a lot of doubts on whether you want to accomplish it. Oh, yeah. Warrior woman, have you answered your deepest calling? So having a very clear understanding of what you do want. Because maybe you're very successful at something you don't want, but everybody approves of. This actually reminds me of the Lover's card a little bit. Like, there's choices we make where something is like a little bit more difficult to explain to other people or to justify, but it's what your heart is really calling you to do, versus the thing that everybody approves of and wants you to do, and it's easy to explain at parties. You're like, well, I'm a lawyer, and everyone's like, oh yay, a lawyer. I mean, that equals success, that equals intelligence, that equals wealth, that equals all of these things that we value, so yay. And you're like, I hate being a lawyer, I want to be a writer. And but if you tell people, you know, at the cocktail party that you're a writer, they're going to be like, have you actually been published? Do you actually write? Have you been reviewed? What can I read? Like, it's like a whole different set of questions. And so that's what this is reminding me of, is like, you maybe became a lawyer and it's really popular, like, people, when you tell people this, you know, at the parties, they can really peg you with really a lot of positive attributes. They just assume a lot of great stuff about you. But if you were to go a different direction with something, and this is just a metaphor, but if you were to go a different direction with something, it would be a lot harder. Like, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Okay. Then you watch the eyes glaze over and people just move on with their lives because you clearly are just going to talk about diapers for the next hour, even though that's the last thing you want to talk about. So there's a sense of like, yeah, but are you passionate about this? Did you really want to be a lawyer? I mean, paying the bills is important, but so what is your deepest calling, and have you resisted your deepest calling? Do you know really what you want to do, but you did the easy thing instead? Or the more approved, did you take the more approved route? You know, even though it's like a misrepresentation of Frost's intent, we have the roads more and less traveled, the freeway and the alleys. Which one did you take? Okay, Eva. Something or someone isn't as it seems. There's like a liar or a fake. That's what a little bit of what this feels like. There's a fake. Something isn't actually what you want. Something looks like a flower and is most definitely not a flower. I hate this card because it creates confusion in my mind. Like, is Eva intentionally, like, look, she's just wearing what she wants to wear. She's dressed up the way she wants to be dressed up. Is it her fault that you make assumptions about what she's wearing and who she is? You see all of this like fruffery, and you're like, oh, you must be a flower. Eva's a snake, and she's like, I'm a snake, but I actually just like dressing up as a flower. So that's kind of on you for not paying closer attention. I'm a snake and I'm fine being a snake. I just like petals, okay? So there's a sense here. So, right, is a snake not allowed to look like a flower? Camouflage really is the name of the game of survival and all of that. So something seems camouflaged. I think that feels like the right word. Something is camouflaged here. It's not what it seems, and it could be you. That's not what you seem at all. And just because people make assumptions doesn't mean it's true. Something isn't what it seems. I hate this card, so I'm going to stop talking about it. Ugh. It just creates so much confusion in these readings. Like, What part of this? Is it you that's not what you seem? Is there intent behind? Well, you know, a snake might dress up as a flower for a reason, to lure something, but a snake might dress up as a flower because they just like petals and they identify more as a flower. It's not to spite you or trick you. It's just that's how they feel. That's who they are, or that's what they like. So there's like all sorts of questions with Eva, like, is there intent to deceive? Or is it just an accident that you think you know what you're looking at and you actually don't? Is it you that's not what you seem? Is it someone else that's not what they seem? It's just all we know is something here isn't what it seems. Then we have new directions. So this is, speaking of things not being what they seem, this plan looked like a hot air balloon, definitely looked like, you know, not the world's most reliable transportation, but it definitely looked somewhat secure. Instead, it turns out to be a dandelion. Divine knew that, you didn't. It got you where you needed to be, and now it's time to change horses midstream. It's time to change tactics. What you thought, again, this is also something, a plan, an idea, something you thought was one way. It's not what it seems at all. And so it's time to just shift your expectations, shift your direction. So these ones are all panicking, like, well, why? They don't see what you see. You see sort of like the writing on the wall. You know where this is going and you're bailing. You're exactly where you're meant to be, though. You were meant to see this as being a viable option. It's not. That's basically what this whole thing is. Something that seems, but it seems more internal and more like your faith or something, a plan for the future, to get somewhere, to go somewhere, to accomplish something. It looked very smart. It looked intellectual. It almost looks like an investment, but it's a super bad investment. It's just not your investment. And no one understands why this isn't why you're not sticking with this. And you're like, yeah, I can see that this is not actually going to turn out very well, and I'm leaving. And people might be very angry, right? Because they were happy as long as you were in this investment with them. As long as you invested in the same thing with them, they were happy with you. But now that you've decided something else, they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? You can't see that this thing is falling apart? I'm bailing. I'm leaving. This seemed like a good idea, and everybody thought it was a good idea. But now you feel you're getting maybe some sort of intuitive idea that this is not the direction you wanted to go, and to stick with it. Okay, that would be the popular choice, but that would be the Pyrrhic victory. You're actually not winning anything by sticking with this. You're not winning. Like, what are you winning here? What's the prize? They just like it that you're there with them. They approve. They approve. And then you're like, yeah, I don't believe in this anymore. I don't believe in this anymore. It's not what it seemed. I thought it was going to be this one way, and it's not this way. And now you're like, well, what do I really want here? Because this is not turning out the way I thought it would. So it's redirection is how I like this. Like, you went in a certain direction for as long as you needed to, and now that you're in this spot, you can go in a different direction. This reminds me of people that are like super successful in sort of the capitalist system, and then at some point, you know, after their success, they're like, this isn't what I really want, actually. And so, but then they've got like piles of money, and then they can go buy land off someplace else. Whereas people that were like more committed to being outside the system never quite get there. But it's like, okay, maybe you were wrong before, but now you've got this like nest egg, so that's cool, and you can go do whatever you want now. So so there is a sense of like bailing on something and going your own way and your own route because something was not taken together. This one's a little less scary. It's just like, this wasn't what it seemed, and you're like choosing something else. You have a deeper calling, and you're choosing something else that's maybe not quite as popular. People might be upset if you blow past this, if you don't do what they wanted you to do. House of Flowers, surprising results in the mundane, routine, I want to say blessings on your home, some kind of beautiful result here, a surprise. There's a surprise waiting for you within the mundane. There is support, though. It's not the same as this support. This is different support. But you do have support. You will find support for maybe busting out of your routine, busting out of the expected, breaking for your life and who you really are, this deeper calling, busting out here, you have support for that path as well. And these people are going to just be mad at you for bailing, but this one's going to welcome you for being your more alive self. Wow. Okay. And then a prayer. Grounded goat. Oh my gosh, Capricorn, it's you. It's you. You mountain goat, you emotional mountain goat. Grounded goat, persistence, discipline, stability. Yeah, well, in the middle of this persistence and stability, you get a little lovely surprise. Sure-footed mountain dweller, bless me with your balance and grace, especially as you take on like a challenging, maybe unpopular route here. So, having faith in your future, realistic goals are attainable, smaller goals, not the whole earth, the mountain. All right. Hope that was helpful for you. And if you want to join me over on Vimeo, I'll be continuing on with this idea of this Three of Wands, faith in the future idea, and we'll do a traditional tarot spread over there. The price is just a small token. So if you want to join me over there, do. If not, catch you later.